Am I the asshole here for not wanting my boyfriend to come over anymore because he's too much of a clean freak? So, I lied to my boyfriend and told him that I'd be out of town this weekend just so he wouldn't come over. I feel bad, but I honestly needed a break. I'm starting to get really fed up with how obsessive he is about cleanliness. For context, I have 2 cats. I vacuum 2 to 3 times a day just to keep the fur under control, and I try my best to keep things clean. But you know how it is. Sometimes fur still floats around or lands in spots that you miss. The issue is, he'll notice a single strand of cat fur and act like it's the end of the world. There were times that he literally woke me up in the middle of the night to complain about one piece of fur floating in the air. I'd say that I'll vacuum in the morning, but he keeps poking me until I get up and do it right then and there. He also hates when my cats go into the room. So whenever he visits, I have to keep them out, which feels unfair because it's their home too. He wears black all the time despite me suggesting not to, so obviously fur sticks to him more. And then he complains right in front of me like it's my fault. Out of frustration, I cancelled our weekend plans just so I could have some peace and quiet. He's been staying over every weekend lately, and honestly, I don't feel at ease in my own space anymore. I don't know. I feel kind of shallow and petty, and maybe I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole here for needing space and not wanting him around because of this? In the comments, Rob Zagnut says, "Tell him, cats have fur. You're going to get cat fur on you if you come over. Stop your incessant whining and deal with it. Or if you can't, don't come over anymore. Your choice." Not the asshole, but I think this is a part of a bigger problem. He clearly has a problem with cats, and you have too. Seriously think about if you have a future. Jay Quest says, "Not the asshole. This is next level OCD. He's coming into your space, their space. I'd cut your losses and find someone who was a little less compulsive. Making me vacuum in the middle of the night because of one cat hair would have been it for me. Even if it's not intentional, that's now abuse." Yep. Often starts off with a ridiculous request to see how far she can be pushed into behaving the way that he wants. If that is the reality of the situation, then what are we supposed to tell OP here? I'm of the belief that this OCD behavior will, unintentionally, ramp up into abusive behavior. I can very much see that being realistic here. The question, am I the asshole here for not wanting my boyfriend to come over anymore because he's too much of a clean freak? No, I don't think you're an asshole at all for that. If he can't peacefully exist in your home every weekend, and he starts making outrageous demands of you and forcing you to vacuum at midnight, I think that's unreasonable. I think it'd be better if you guys just spent time at his house instead. Then he has nothing to complain about because there's no cats there. But then you would be also expected to ensure that every single strand of cat fur is kept off of your clothes going to his house as well, which to me would be another insane request. So I'm not one to advocate for breaking up specifically because of this, but I am one to advocate for questioning the long-term compatibility that you two have, and taking into account that dating is a process of selection. If you recognize that this is a potential deal breaker down the line, I don't think that you guys could peacefully cohabitate, given that you probably want cats and he's completely against it. It's silly, but that's how these things work. Not the asshole. And now, onto the update. Hello. I just wanted to share an update because things took a turn that I honestly didn't see coming. So, after I lied and told him that I'd be out of town, he got suspicious and showed up at my place on Saturday. I wasn't expecting him, though. I was literally in my pajamas, curled up on the couch with my cats, enjoying a peaceful day. He knocked, and before I could even process what was happening, he was inside complaining about all the fur everywhere. I asked him to leave, but he kept on ranting about how disgusting it was. And then my oldest cat, who's super friendly but sheds a lot, jumped up on the couch next to him. He freaked out, stood up, and shoved my cat off the couch. My poor cat hit the floor and ran under the bed. He's okay now. I completely lost it. That was the final straw. I told him to get out and that we were done for good. He tried to apologize and say that it was an accident, but I didn't care. If you can't respect my cats, you can't be in my life. I honestly feel so much relief right now. I can breathe again in my own home without feeling like I live in a museum. My cats are back to lounging wherever they please, as they should. So yeah, I guess I have my answer now. Thank you for letting me vent here, and thanks for those who commented on my last post. So much appreciated. In the comments, Fancy Complaint says, I said this to you in your last post too. You are going to be so happy with your next boyfriend cuddling all together with your cats. I'm glad you took the trash out. OP says, aw, thank you. Honestly, I'm already happier just having my cats back on the couch with me. Next time I'm picking someone who brings treats for them, not complaints. That's good, I like that. I'm glad you got rid of the guy who wasn't nice to your cats because you're not the asshole. He didn't just not respect your cats, he didn't respect you. You told him that you were unavailable that weekend, but he came over anyway. You shouldn't have lied to spend a weekend alone in your apartment, and then he's inside the apartment and he's sitting on your sofa, even though you were clear that you didn't want to spend the weekend with him. OP says, seriously, it's kinda scary realizing how normal I thought that was at the time. Twisted Thistle says, my original thought was, why did he come over and just walk in when you said you weren't available? What did he plan to do? That is very strange behavior. Showing up at your house uninvited to check on you is a lot more concerning than not liking cats and being a clean freak. This was such a hard read at first, but I'm so glad you stood up for yourself and your cats. Anyone who can't respect your space, and especially a furry family member, doesn't deserve a place in it. You didn't lose a boyfriend, you gained peace, and more uninterrupted cat cuddles. Sending you and your fur babies all the love. Yeah, it seems crazy to me that a common thread in these contentious relationships is that the person writing the story is always incredibly anxious and incredibly upset about not having their privacy respected by their partner, and that the mere thought of spending time in a space with them makes them incredibly upset. We gotta love some pattern recognition. But obviously, it's not always the case that the partner is abusive. Sometimes you're just going through something and you need that alone time. Unfortunately, the mask kind of slipped with this guy, and he didn't respect OP's privacy. Yeah, I tend to agree with the comments. That's a much bigger issue that OP did normalize, that we need to stamp that shit out. You know, like, if she wasn't at the house and he just invited himself in like that, what did he plan to do? We can only catastrophize here. We can only assume the worst of him because he already said he didn't like the cats. Yes, we don't have to catastrophize, but I want to. I tend to believe that since he was physically violent with the cat in that situation, he'd be comfortable doing something about the cats while she is not home, while she is none the wiser. He already showed that he is capable of physical violence at a whim just because he's uncomfortable with these cats existing next to him. Just in front of her face like that. He just assaulted the cat right in front of her. What the hell is he capable of doing behind closed doors when no one's watching? I'm so glad OP just slammed the door in his face in an instant. She was wise enough not to normalize that behavior. Thank you for doing that, and still not the asshole, OP. Good luck finding someone that deserves you, because I think you deserve someone that does. Our next post is by user Odd Candy, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for naming my daughter a verb? I, 31, have 2 sons, Jesse, 4, and Lucas, 3. And just had my 3rd child a few days ago, and it's a girl. And she's a girl, let's stop calling babies it. I love all of my children equally, but we've always wanted a daughter, so we decided to choose a meaningful name for her. Some names we've considered were Amara, Esme, Celine, and Rosalie. But we wanted something more unique, so I suggested Embrace, because I think it's a lovely name and also unique because it would convey that our daughter's both loving and open to change. My husband loved the idea, and we settled on naming our baby girl Embrace. And when you have twins, you're gonna name them Romeo and Juliet. That's a good idea as well. Yesterday, I went over to my parents' place so they could meet her for the first time. My older sister and younger brothers, 30 and 25, were also there, and my sister asked if I had decided on what to name her. Me and my husband told them that we were going to name her Embrace, and my sister burst out laughing. She said that my daughter's going to be bullied and her name's going to be punned the hell out of if I name her a verb. But I argued that it has a beautiful meaning and is more unique than a lot of names that convey similar meaning. One of my brothers, 30, and Dad said that my sister had a point. My youngest brother said that he didn't want any involvement in this conflict, and my mum told my sister not to be so negative and defended my decision. This resulted in a huge argument, and I ended up leaving with my husband in tears. I asked a few close friends for their opinions, and some say that both sides are understandable, while others are telling me that my sister is right and the name won't age well. So Reddit, am I the asshole for naming my daughter a verb? In the comments, Humble Meerkat says, why would you do that to your child? Do you want her to grow up to be a stripper or something? Because I'm sorry, that is absolutely a stripper/exotic dancer codename, dude. OP replies, I respect opinions of the other commenters, even if they called the name cringe, said they laughed, or called the name stupid, but I honestly find your comment distasteful. You could have said you're the asshole and that's a stupid name or something, rather than going straight to the level of strippers and exotic dancers. I'm not trying to sound oversensitive or start an argument, but you're honestly very disrespectful and should relearn manners. Christ. OP being unable to take constructive criticism. I love that for them. Humble Meerkat replies, I'm sorry, but I literally went to a strip club in Vegas for a bachelorette party once, and the dancers were Bubbles, Diamond, and Embrace. The strip club Powerpuff Girls. I will certainly work on the delivery in the future. A lot of these are AI fake posts too, so I honestly didn't think anyone would really name their kid this. OP replies, oh, well, I apologize for being a bit too upset about that. If you actually met a stripper named Embrace, then I can see where it's coming from. My bad. Honestly, that's actually making me low-key reconsider the name. That is making you low-key reconsider? It took all of this just for someone to say, wow, maybe it's a stripper's name. Oh my god, OP, you are dense. I can't. Speckle Fried Pickle says, you can name your child anything you'd like. That doesn't mean you should. Think about teenage boys and girls named Embrace. That should give you plenty of reasons not to do this to her. I'm all in favor of you do you, but this is a bridge too far. Maybe translate it into an obscure language. You would be the asshole if you go through with this. OP says, thank you for presenting it from that point of view. I'm actually thinking it over from that perspective. Where's Wolf says, you're the asshole. Listen, it is a beautiful word, but not as a name. And what's even worse is that husband and I always wanted a girl, so when we finally got a daughter, we wanted to name her something meaningful. Have you any idea what a slap in the face that is for your sons? You're basically saying that the boys don't really matter. Their names don't matter. You finally got the child you wanted, so now you're going to actually care for the child you want, not the wrong gender. You're a huge piece of shit. Me when I project? OP replies, thank you for sharing your opinion. I honestly didn't think of it that way when I wrote that part, but to clarify, when I said we've always wanted a daughter, I mean that we wanted both genders. Even if we ended up having a boy this time around, we'd be just as delighted. I understand how what I wrote comes off that way, but believe me, we put just as much thought into our sons' names and love them more than anything. Hope that clears up the misunderstanding. Insane Reddit commenters be like, oh, you said X, so obviously you mean A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. God, you are literally worse than pond scum, you know that? You literally said that you want your son to die. That's what you meant when you said that, you piece of shit. I hate you, and I hope you die in a fire because your sons deserved better. They deserve better than just you wanting a girl, you disgusting, vile woman. Damn, people really have some issues in these comments. Where did that come from? I'm gonna commend OP for coming to an unbiased third party after exhausting all of the options in their family and personal circles. It really does seem like they are looking for proper feedback, because I'm gonna guess some of those people didn't really give actual constructive feedback and they were holding themselves back so as not to cause offense. That's genuinely why I feel like OP came to Reddit, because look, people don't know OP. That's the objective third-party opinion being like, you're a fucking idiot, mate. What is wrong with you? It really, to me, sounds like no one in OP's life gave her that reality slap that she needed. Or they did and she just ignored it, who knows? But it's so surprising that it took someone being like, no, I literally met a stripper named Embrace. This is a stripper name. And they're like, oh, this changes everything. What the fuck? What? I just don't understand why some people, it takes them so long and so many different examples to find the one that clicks in their head after being told no so many times. Man, I didn't know that getting shot is so painful until I met an army veteran who was shot. My whole perspective has been changed. Wow. I've met my fair share of questionable names in my life, but I'll never forget, in primary school, a girl named Energy. I just thought that was an insane name, even at that time. She was bullied so hard for being named Energy. Embrace, for sure, would get absolutely destroyed in the playground and in the classroom. No doubt about it. Do we really just forget what primary school and high school were like when we get to 20 and 30 years old? Come on. And now, on to the update. So 2 weeks ago, I made a post asking if I was the asshole for wanting to name my newborn daughter Embrace, a name implying love, because my sister, father, one of my brothers, and a few close friends said that the name could be embarrassing for my daughter in the future and wasn't a good idea. I discussed things with my husband a few days ago and showed him the post and the comments, and we both agreed that it might not be a good idea to name her something so unusual. Some of the "you're the asshole" comments were harsh, but I needed the reality check. Thanks. After that, I arranged to meet with my sister the next day, and we both apologized to each other for the argument. Anyways, after some discussion and advice from my immediate family and some friends, we decided to name our baby girl Amara instead. Everyone seems to love the name, including us, of course, so that's good, and we are set on Amara. But if we decided to choose something else, we still have until August, because my daughter was born on June 13th, and our country gives you 60 days to register the baby after its birth. Thank you to everyone who provided their help by reading my original post and commenting their opinion. It was great help. In the comments, Shine Like an Emerald says, Amara is a beautiful name. In my language, Amara or Amala means grace. It's actually my middle name. Not the asshole. It's better than being named after a dog food brand like someone I know. The poor kid is gonna get the stuffing beat out of him when he goes to school. Well, what's wrong with naming a kid Schmacko? What? When naming a child, always consider if their name would be appropriate for a Supreme Court judge, a governor, a college professor, heck, even a dentist. Why not give them a name that is dignified enough for anything they might want to become? They'll spend many more years as a working adult than as a cute baby. And remember, I'm a person too says, Amara is lovely. Although I have to say, I don't think the problem with Embrace was that it's too unique. The problem is that we live in a very misogynistic world, and that name is too easy to sexualize. It would be a lovely name if society wasn't so sick, but women and even little girls have to deal with a lot of disgusting bullshit already. And a name like that would probably, unfortunately, bring a lot more of it. Same with names like Honey or Cherry. They're cute and sweet, and it sucks that they'll make life hell for any woman trying to navigate professional situations. Just like the name Predator would be absolutely sick if it weren't tied to such insane connotations. Damn, look at that guy. He's a freak. He's such a predator. Oh, wait up. Hold up. But yeah, No, I agree with that. It is, kind of a pretty misogynistic world that we live in, absolutely. And we can't have nice things. I think embrace as a concept, it's sick. I do genuinely like that. But you're going to destroy that child's soul when you put them through the meat churner that is life. Life is unfortunately very hostile to out of the box names like that. Life is very hostile to many things. And when you have kids, I think you got to put their mental and physical health at the top of the priority list. And that unfortunately means that their needs go above your wants. Even if your wants, in my opinion, aren't even that bad. But your wants will destroy their needs. That's kind of how I'm viewing the situation here. Regardless, I think that Amara is lovely as well. It's a great little name. I wish nothing but the best for you and your child. I hope you guys have a lovely future that doesn't involve your kid getting bullied for their name. If you have twins, do take my name suggestion, because that was a sick one. As always, thank you for the story. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.